Some of the biggest news in Ethereum right now may be hitting our doorstep. Today, we're going to be breaking down a lot that's happening in the ETH ecosystem, but also on the long-term outlook for ETH. So make sure and stay tuned for that. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. All right, so I want to thank our sponsor today, and that is Tangem. Getting into self-custody, never been easier. All you have to do is go to tangem.com, click on the little blue button right there at the top, and it's going to give you an option to get the 3-card or the 2-card set. Go with the 3-card. It's the best way to get into self-custody and get your tokens off exchanges. Let's go into a few points I want to hit on. And I think everybody remembers the Prometheum guy that was on in front of Congress and made such a craziness statement. I'll remind you. Let's bring a clip in to give you a kind of a framework of what's happening right now. Listen in.
There is a compliant path forward for crypto in the United States that the SEC has clearly laid out. New legislation is not in the best interest of the investing public or the blockchain industry.
Can Prometheum customers trade in Ether? If your answer is yes, please explain how.
Not currently.
What assets do you plan to offer?
Digital asset securities.
Did you coordinate in any way with either the SEC or House representative staff before your appearance at that hearing?
I think it's pretty standard for there to be some communication between the entities that invite you. And
how will you get it registered as a security?
That's not a requirement. It's just that simple.
But if it doesn't have like the disclosures and the registration, then wouldn't you be listing an illegally registered security?
We will not support trading in anything that's an illegal asset.
So now you're implying you won't list Ether because you're saying it was.
We have not made any announcements. We had not made any announcements as to the assets we will support, and we will announce it in the near future.
I think it's very telling that Aaron can only speak in hypotheticals and in very vague language.
I think everybody remembers maybe you do, on the Larson discussion. This guy was really, I think, one of the most hated people in crypto there for a while. It was the smugness of Prometheum. Well, it turns out that Prometheum now is the only U.S. registered crypto platform that has picked Ether as its first product. Further in the article right there, first digital asset to handle for its clients is going to be ETH. And when you look at that and you think about, all right, the SEC kind of propped this entity up to present. So if this is the fact, then we have a registered security that is Ethereum. Have we already reached that? And even if it is not, and the SEC says, okay, hold on a minute, even in that kind of scenario, it's going to showcase the fact that there's really no path to registration, which is the argument that everybody is making, including Coinbase. I want to go to another clip real quick. This gets into further things that are happening on Ethereum. This was in reference to ENS. Now, we talked about ENS earlier in the week, both the token, but also the project, and there's a lot more happening under the hood here, so listen in.
An integration between Ethereum name service, which you founded, and GoDaddy went live yesterday with the goal of opening the door to more Web3 adoption. Did you approach GoDaddy or vice versa?
We've been sort of very public about what we're working on in broad strokes in terms of the gasless DNS integration and so forth. And we've had outreaches from a number of registrars and registries, and GoDaddy was one of those. And we were very enthusiastic to work with them on this.
And now those users can add Ethereum to their website. So essentially, their Web 2 domains can now link to the Ethereum name service. That's one major way to open the door to more adoption of Web 3. But what are some of the other benefits tied to this new integration?
We're excited about taking this a step further beyond simply resolving DNS names into Ethereum addresses. ENS already supports addresses for over 200 other blockchains. And so it'll be very easy to extend this and improve the user interface to allow nominating any of those as your address as well.
What else is in store for ENS this year? What can people expect?
We're very intently focused on scaling to L2. It's now a matter of putting the polish on it and making it more usable and easier for people to integrate.
So I don't know if you guys realize, this is one of the things that I talk about often, is the amount of adoption opportunity that is really kind of entering the market right now for the very first time. And what I mean by that is GoDaddy is that's a household name for any business out there, most likely has used GoDaddy in the past. GoDaddy being one of the biggest registrars out there. But now you're talking about the connection of ENS along with, look at this, every other token, platform, and blockchain having the ability to utilize this technology and enter into a Web 2 to Web 3 transition that we're talking about. This also does really bring in a massive convergence into the opportunity around Web 3. And this was done on CNBC. So this opened up, I think, a lot of people's minds. And for those who were paying attention, marketers, big business, etc., now they're starting to get a dose of really what is going to happen in Web 3. I want to go to another clip under this during this CNBC interview. They talk a little bit more about the ETH upgrades, which there's some interesting ones that are happening. Listen in.
I understand you think that 2024 is going to be a big growth year. Why do you think that is?
I'm particularly excited this year because we're likely to see a couple of major improvement proposals go through. One of which is improving support for layer 2s via what's called blob space, and that will make it much more cost effective and easier to build L2s on top of Ethereum by storing data on the Ethereum blockchain for them. And the second is a little more esoteric. It's around temporary storage and contracts. And it will make a lot of common interactions that currently can be, cost prohibitive in terms of gas fees, a lot more practical.
All right, so he did hit on a couple of points there. And obviously, we know Dencon is one of the big, the big achievements I think that will happen this year. But the fact that he's going after fees, because this is to me the one thing that holds back Ethereum from becoming a massive success in use of retail systems, the ability to be able to scale. Obviously, he's talking about an L2 here for what ENS is trying to do. But if there is an opportunity here for lowering gas fees, this will be a major, major advancement for Ethereum. And it means that ETH will now start to rival some of these low-cost networks out there. And everybody knows which ones they are. So it's a big deal, I think, around all of this that is happening right now. If you look at what Jeremy Allaire is starting to talk about, excellent step forward, USDC ecosystem, solving a real pain point for startups and fintechs, building the internet financial system. So they're doing this Beam for Business. So it's going to allow Beam for business checking. This is more advancement. Remember, USDC, ETH, ERC20. And then further in here, Coinbase says, right now, we're talking about really transitioning a lot of savings, $74 billion on credit card fees with blockchain. And this is the thing that I think a lot of people miss, is the opportunity here of what blockchain represents in terms of lowering cost of the financial system. Coinbase's latest State of the Crypto report basically says $74 billion on credit card transaction fees, amounting to an average savings of about $600 per household. That's significant if you have something that you can use out there in the modern day financial system that's faster and cheaper. And that is what we are starting to move to. Now, there's a couple of things that are happening here. Here's one with Offramps.eth. This is one of the new tool sets that is going to be able to get USDC from your wallet to Offramps.eth and then directly into USDC. Now, what this means is it circumvents the need from going from a DeFi wallet or your regular, self-storage wallet and moving it directly into your bank. That's been one of the big fallbacks that I think a lot of people have been challenged with. This could open up a pretty big opportunity. All right, so let me go to a clip real quick because it gives an example of how it works. Listen in.
Hey everyone, my name is Alexander. I'm one of the creators of Offramps.eth, the easiest way to off-ramp. I'm going to go ahead and use the wallet that I connected. Okay, so I'm going to send 10 USDC to this Offramps.eth address. And as soon as it's confirmed, I can actually see it in my Offramps history tab. 10 USDC was sent on Ethereum and it's still processing. I'm also going to get an email that tells me that as well. And we initiate an ACH transfer when we receive the 10 USDC. And those funds will be sent to my bank account.
All right, so essentially this is kind of like a 2.5 version of what we will see in the solution around traditional finance and what we now know in the Web3 space, but also in the crypto space of being able to move money into your bank directly without going to a typical, exchange. So all of that, I think, plays into the future of where ETH is going, but more importantly, it starts to change the dynamic of how you're going to interface with banks. That's a big deal. Another thing I want to hit on here is it's not just happening with Offramp. There's also things going on right. Here's Vlad talking about Robinhood. Now you can transfer crypto directly from the Robinhood app while you're in your Metamask wallet. So you can do that. This is going to be a very intriguing thing. Robinhood continues to innovate. I like what they're doing. Again, there are some limitations where I know everybody loves or hates it, but it is an advancement, I think, in terms of the use case. Also, just to give you guys a little bit of an update here on what's happening with ETH unique addresses, continuing to absolutely explode, not slowing down at all. And then if you look at what we talked about Farcaster the other day, Farcaster also moving very, very fast. This was just earlier the week. It has already started to move. This is a decentralized social network protocol that I think will continue to do some very interesting things in social. And with that happening, you've got others that are starting to kind of take a look at as to whether or not, is this a fad, one of those things. So here was kind of a statement right here on, hey, Friendtech, went from crypto darling to basically a desert in about 4 months. And then you had Vitalik come back in and say, wait a minute, hey, Bad Game Valley is using financial spec as a substitute for fun. Blockchain games need to be fun. And he's pretty much saying it. And he believes his prediction, Farcaster and Lens protocol, will not be deserted in 4 months or a year. So are these the ones that could finally break through the social media platforms and be able to truly decentralize social? And if that does happen, we're in for a lot of new projects starting to hit the streets, I think, for sure. Now, don't forget, you've got existing social media, including Blue Sky, now all of a sudden, ironically timed, dropping their requirement for you to go in and get an invitation. Now anybody can join Blue Sky. So I don't know, maybe a last desperation attempt for what's happening there. Don't forget, Meta is been very, very smart about this. And maybe Threads could tie into this, but remember, Zuckerberg, we've had it on the show many times, Zuckerberg has already kind of showed that they're interested in a decentralized model for the future. And I think that is the difference between what we're seeing out of Dorsey and also Elon with, of course, X. So we'll take a quick look at the ETH chart here. And if you take a look at the Lux Algo, this is the indicator overlay, by the way. A little bit of movement right here with ETH. Obviously, over the last week, we're seeing right at almost 8% up right now. It is moving on the day. Can this hold the 2,400 is the question mark. And is this one that you like to maybe dollar cost average, continue to dollar cost average into? Let me know what you guys think. When you look at the market sentiment index, this has been showing a little bit of movement here since about the 1st of February. We're seeing upside trends on ETH sentiment. So somewhat aligned here with what's happening all the way back to the 26th, where ETH had kind of bottomed out toward the end of January. So what does this mean? This means that Ethereum is going to continue to grow. I think now we're starting to see mainstream efforts here that people are recognizing with what's happening with ENS, but also what could be happening with payment rails. So a lot of good things on ETH right now. So we're going to continue to cover it. We'll cover all of that for you guys here on the channel. Make sure and subscribe right now. If you're not subscribed to the channel, jump in, be part of the PBN family. And of course, if you're not in the Diamond Circle, make sure and get in that. It's the best way to get additional content. Catch me out there on X, @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.